I'm going to be brutally honest here. Builds on Silent Kingdom are generally the good, the half-decent, and the ugly. Fortunately, the good seems to be rather rare, although the two newest members have been doing quite well. But my admittedly small survey size says that a majority of Minecrafters could benefit from quite a bit, just from some simple tips. I also have no plans of doing some sort of block-for-block tutorial, which, it'll certainly give you a nice finished product, isn't going to teach you anything either. Now, I'm no Green or Jaracraft, and while impressive, their advanced builds are just too fancy to teach the average player. What I can do is provide you with versatile tips that will help you grow your skills as a player. Like, for example, adding scaffolding like this. Ideally, this series will help out you, the viewer, as a builder, the server, because hopefully we can get some much better builders on using this, and of course this channel. Let's get started and learn about building. Also, by the way, don't try to transform a simple build. This is not good. this is not good. So you gotta start off right. You can't just take something ugly and apply some of the tips in the middle to fix it. You gotta start off, and that is what this is about. For this beginning episode, we're gonna sort of go in a chronological order and begin by generating concepts, which obviously this house is lacking. It doesn't have exactly a concept. It's not particularly inspired, and it's very generic, even with my attempts to improve it by using some building techniques. Now I'll have to pick on Yui a bit here, who has been planning on building a super chunk, shown here, transforming a stronghold, a dwarven base, and a frontier outpost. All of these have been eventually abandoned for various reasons. Now he's working on a space station. A common problem people come up with as they make ideas is plagiarism. It's hard to come up with an idea that hasn't been already done by someone else. Minecraft is a very social game. There's servers and YouTube constantly showing us great builds. And it's pretty hard, especially when you're thinking your ideas like this, to do something that hasn't already been come up with. Especially if you're interested in creating something unique. Choose blocks instead. There's nothing unique about a castle, but on the other hand, a palette of red sandstone, brown clay, and spruce fences is very unique. More importantly, if you build well and you create an interesting palette, you can sometimes go without creating an idea at all. For example, this little acacia building, I guess you could describe it as a hut, but in terms of the actual building, there's really no way to describe it. Take some time before starting. Once you get an idea, do something like Steve here is. Sit down nice in a little chair. Fools rush in. It's important to let the idea marinate for several reasons. You might change your mind, and it would be pretty annoying to waste those efforts that you've put into starting it. Or even if you just want to, say, add in another block, or build in a different biome. Plus, ideas always sound cool when they're new, but if you can still be excited about that idea after a week, that's probably a pretty good sign that when you're grinding through this build and it's been a couple months, you might be able, maybe not happy, but at least able to keep going. And of course, you have to understand your skill set. Are we looking to step outside our comfort zone and learn a new skill? Or are we trying to get a base idea that perfectly complements what we can do? You need to know what you're good at. Whoa. Now the Hermitcraft world is laggy, so I can only be at a render distance of 3 right now, but I can tell you, looking at this very small view of Mumbo's base, doesn't seem very expansive because of my small render distance, but be expansive with your base. combine ideas, do a ton of stuff. I like my base, but I do sort of regret the limits that it has of being fairly contained. Now, maybe it's just me, and I know I've said this before, but finding a good idea is hard. Choose blocks, especially if you're struggling to find an idea. Try to pick out some blocks. Establish a palette. And once you have your blocks chosen, it should be much easier to come up with that idea. Maybe you won't even come up with one. You'll just sort of build a thing with those blocks, and it can look great. Now, how do we choose blocks? That's obviously an important question, and I'm going to be addressing that next episode. We're going to be talking all about palette, how to choose it, some tips for brainstorming palettes or just figuring out what palette are going to look good, and all about color, all those fancy, fun stuff. But that being said, I would like to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.